krass.
Ja, ja.
Ist auch.
Wir waren gestern gegenüber vom Hotel, ist ein cooles kleines griechisches Restaurant gewesen. Und da habe ich mir so einen griechischen Salat mit Balsamico reingepfiffen. Und ich sage euch, alter Schwede, ich habe noch never ever so einen geilen Balsamico gegessen. Ja, nicht getrunken, aber gegessen, aber den konnte man mit sicher trinken. Und dann hat mir der nette Typ vom Restaurant einmal hier seinen Shop angezeigt. Und hier ist eine Olivenölfabrik. Und ja, schauen wir uns mal an.
The factory is working from last days of October every year. November, main season, we are working 24 hours usually for the whole month. December and January. By the end of January, we already collect all the olives and then we stop. And for us now it's service period. We are preparing for in 1 month to start the new harvest. So at this time of the moment we don't have a fresh olive oil, it's from the previous year.
Ah, okay.
Is it good?
Never eaten something like before.
Really?
Das ist ja von gestern Abend.
Ja?
Das ist der Wonton.
It's very easy to prepare it if you know how to prepare it. Of course, the most famous balsamico vinegar is from Modena, Italy.
Yeah.
But they age it. They are doing some kind of different procedure. In Modena, they take the fresh juice when they are squeezing the grapes, and they boil it a little bit just to dehydrate it, and then they put in wooden barrels. And they age it for 10, 12 years, and the vinegar is it's forming because they age it and fermentation starts. Because it's not possible for us. We are preparing only very, very small quantities.
Yeah.
We are using the grape juice we have a small graveyard next to our factory. We boil it also, just why the color is turned to brown, because all the sugars are caramelized. It's a little bit creamy because we boil it, we dehydrate it a lot. And then you're preparing, in Greece we call it petimezi. Petimezi, it's concentrated grape juice.
Yeah.
And then also you're preparing vinegar from previous year from the same grape juice. And you mix it a little bit.
Oh, it's very good.
And you have the similar result.
But always 10 times, 100 times better than in Germany. Normal. Also.
In Germany, probably you're not using creamy. You're using like balsamico vinegar. Similar to balsamico vinegar. It's very, very liquid. So they use food coloring, caramel color.
Yeah, the Germans are.
But don't worry, also the Greek people are doing the same. If you go to a supermarket, exactly the same product. We are the producers.
But in Germany, you pay about 20, 25 euro for.
If you like, you can pay us about 20 euros.
No, no. No, I'm just saying. I mean.
Now I know what you mean, but for us, it's a very good price. But also because we produce it in very, very small quantities and we don't sell it outside in other shops.
Ah, okay.
Only in our shop.
How much will it cost?
This size is 6 euros.
Yeah, in the normal shops also. How was?
This quality?
Yeah. If
10, 12 euros, yeah. But I think in Greek supermarkets you won't find this product.
Yeah.
You will find balsamico vinegar very liquid like the one in industrial production, about 2 euros, the same size. And also balsamico cream, more creamy like this, like balsamico, about 3 or 4 euros, but it's creamy. Yeah. But it's not the same product. It's industrial production also. Chemically produced.
Können wir denn überhaupt so eine große Flasche am Flughafen mitnehmen?
In some delicatessen shops, but not in Kos, in Athens. Maybe these products you'll find it on about 12, 15 euros.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Ja, doch, klar, kannst du im Koffer.
Yeah, I'm just asking because we are fly back next week. Are we allowed to have this in a...
In your luggage? In your handbag? No, in your luggage, yes.
Yeah.
Normal
in
luggage.
Koffer?
I have many customers in, especially in Germany. We have especially two customers that they're coming every year, every summer, 2 or 3 times, in different periods. They are buying 6, 7 bottles like this.
Okay.
They have many friends and they're now it's the 5th year that they're coming.
Yeah. And you produce everything here?
The olive oil, the balsamico, we have a store at the backside, separate room. We have the boilers and we boil it. But the olive oil is here. The production starts from here and the end is over there. We need about 1 hour, 2 minutes, 2 hours from the beginning to the end to produce olive oil.
Hier werden also die Oliven reingeworfen. Einmal hoch.
Okay, this is the beginning is from here. When we collect the olives from the olive field, we bring here by using big baskets or big bags. Among the olives, there are some leaves and broken branches.
Yeah.
The separation is happening here. So all together are going on this conveyor up there. On the top, there are 2 machines like vacuum cleaners. These are the separators.
Yeah.
They are sucking air and they can separate the leaves and the branches.
Yeah.
Then the olives are falling in a washing machine to clean them from the dust.
Yeah.
After they're getting washed, with this conveyor, they're getting inside there. This is a big blender, a big crusher.
Yeah.
Crushes the olives. This is the modern way of the stone mills. 100 years ago, to crush the olives and turn them to olive paste, we are using big round rocks like a windmill. And to move them, we are using donkeys, horses, and cows. Now this is the modern way. With this method, we can crush about 5,000 kilos of olives per hour. With the stone mills, it was almost per day. Huge difference in production.
The size is very small.
So the resulting appearance is something when everything is crushed, including the pit, the stone of the olive is still inside it, it's crushed.
Yeah.
It's something like tapinat, like olive paste, but this one is not possible to eat it. Has too bitter taste. It's not possible to consume an olive straight from the tree because of the bitter taste. And also because of the crushed pit, we have too many small hard pieces, so it's too hard to chew it.
Yeah.
So this olive paste, it will get here in one chamber, in one tank, and it will stay here for about 45 minutes. This is the longest stage of the production. It will stay here to warm it a little bit. Every tank, it works like a big water bath, like a big bain-marie. At very low temperatures. The highest temperature we are using is 27 degrees in Celsius scale. It's called cold extraction. If you produce olive oil at 28, 29 degrees and lower, it's called cold extraction because you don't spoil the quality of the oil. All the antioxidants and the flavors are still inside. So after 45 minutes, when we have the temperature we need, through this pipe is going to the main part of the olive oil factory. It's a continuous centrifuge separator. Spins with 3,500 rounds per minute and separates solids, the pit and the skin, and the mesocarp. Mesocarp is the light stuff we eat, the soft stuff we eat from the olive. The flesh, the water, and the oil. 3 products. 1 product is getting inside, 3 products are getting out at the same time. Approximately, the 40% of the total weight of the fruit is water. The other 40% are solids. Only the 20%, 2% more or less, depends on the maturity, is oil. So the solids are getting out through this exit, and all the residues of the oil that is not possible to separate it, the losses. So it's not a waste, it's a byproduct for us. Every second, third day, when we have about 30 tons of this, we set them in Athens by using big boats. And they're specific factories. We call them refining factories. They're collecting all these solid parts from the small olive oil factories, and they are separating completely the residues of the oil from the pommes, from the solid parts, from the kernel. They are using gasoline to do this separation as a diluter. Then they clean this oil, and you can find it at the supermarkets as pommes oil or refined olive oil. Probably you have seen it. The label says good for frying and cooking only. It's very, very cheap. Also in Greece we use it for frying only, but the main usage for us, we use it to produce olive oil soaps and cosmetics. It's very, very cheap. In Kos, we use this kind of oil, extra virgin olive oil, because we produce this kind. But the main product for us is the kernel. the pure wood that is produced, because it's completely clean from the oil. We use it instead of pellets. We have big boilers at the back side of the building, and we are burning this during the winter to warm the water. It's very, very cheap. And also it's ecological. And just to have an idea, we have 2 customers here in Kos. They have boilers like this in their houses. 2 years ago they made this change. The houses are 150 square meters each. Yeah. They are turning on the boiler by the end of October. Turn it off end of March. All those months running 24 hours, and they are consuming the water, the hot water. They need approximately 4 tons of this. The cost of 1 ton, approximately 100 euros. Two disadvantages. Big store to store it, and because in appearance something like soil, you have a little bit of dust. Yeah. Those 2 only. But it's very, very cheap. And also some of the greenhouses here in Kos, they are buying these solid parts from us to warm the water to warm the air during the winter. Also they burn it during the winter. It's very, very cheap. So the water that is getting out from here is getting separated. We produce approximately 2,000 cubic meters of this every year. It's a very strong fertilizer. It's so strong that you cannot spread it on a field like this pure during the winter. Also, we don't need irrigation during the winter because of rainfalls. So we have a big lake about 1 meter deep. We store it there. We use what we need in small portions during spring and summer for irrigation. The rest is completely evaporized by the end of September. And on the bottom we have about solid residues, about this thick. This one we take it out and we use it as a solid fertilizer in small portions to our fields. It has very high concentration in potassium inside, very high concentration with nitrogen, phosphorus, magnesium. So instead of buying fertilizer, we use this. And the rest of the oil that needs one last cleaning, so through those 2 pipes, going to the last 2 machines, also centrifuge separators. But because they are vertical, they are spinning like this. That's not the inside. This is the inside, the inner part. They are spinning with 6,500 miles per minute. They are able to separate 2 liquids if they have different gravity. Yeah. Like oil and water. Yeah. Oil is lighter, it's coming on the top. The rest of the water is getting out from the pipe. Oh. From this point, the oil is ready. You can use it. It's a little bit cloudy. It has completely fresh taste. But it's a little bit cloudy because there's still inside 0.5% humidity, some enzymes, proteins. That's why it's more thick in density and more tasteful. It's a very good idea to separate those enzymes and the proteins as soon as possible by using some filtration methods, like in our bottling. We filter it in January to prevent the further oxidation of the oil, because when the temperature of the atmosphere is getting a little bit higher after March, April, those enzymes start oxidizing a little bit faster than the olive oil. The other thing you can do, because only we have big filtration systems here in Kos, the small farmers, when they are buying olive oil or when they are producing olive oil, they have big barrels or tanks. They store it there. 2 months later, the gravity settles down all the heavy parts. And after 2 months, you'll find on the bottom about 1% cloudiness, some solid residues. You are separating the 99% completely clear oil in a different tank. And with the rest, on the bottom, we gather it and we are producing olive oil soaps. The best quality of the olive oil soaps is produced with this.
Das waren die Olivenölsachen, die wir da, also nicht, ob das die waren, aber die haben wir gerochen schon. Die waren
ja, aber das ist das Oberste, was sich dann ablagert, ne?
Ja, ja, genau, was dann überbleibt.
Yeah. It's about 1 hour and 30 minutes, 2 hours to produce oil. So, for the olives, to turn them eatable, we are using an olive paste. We are using another method, not machineries. It's machines. It's a method we are using our hands, collecting the olives with the hand from the tree, one by one, just to check the best olives, see if they have disease or not. Put them in clean water to debitter them. I told you, It's not possible to consume an olive straight from the tree, even if they are mature enough. So, for the bittering, we are putting in clean water, change the water every day for at least 3 or 4 weeks. This bitterness is because of some antioxidants. Most of them are water soluble. So if you put them in clean water, this bitterness is getting out. Change the water every day. After 3 or 4 weeks, you are tasting one olive. If you like the taste, the bitterness, the level of the bitterness, then you are preparing salty water. Salt and water. And you preserve them like this. 1 tip, 2 tips. The salinity, the level of the salt inside, should be no less than 6.5%, no higher than 10%. Less than 6%, the fermentation is not correctly done. So after 1 or 2 weeks, you start seeing yeast and malt on the top. Over 10% is too strong, and the skin is getting softer. So you can not keep it longer than 6 or 7 months. So if you keep the level of the saltness about 9%, because every month you should check the salinity and add some salt, because it's getting out, it's getting dissolved, or some salt is getting absorbed by the olives, so you have to adjust the salinity level. And also you have to adjust the pH value by adding some vinegar inside, or some citric acid or lemon juice, or slices of lemon, just for the fermentation to...
But how many people you need to get the olive from the trees? 500? 600?
No, it depends on the quantity you collect.
Okay.
It depends on the quantity. We have 2 or 3 people collecting. This is what they are doing in 1 week. And if you want to collect the olives to produce green olives, then you collect them last days of September, first days of October. If you want to collect them when they are purple, in November. When you want to collect them when they're mature enough, brown or deep purple, December. But when they're mature enough, that means that the skin is very, very soft. Then you cannot debitter them by using clean water and change the water, because after 2 or 3 days the skin is getting ripped off because very, very soft. So when you're collecting brown olives, mature olives, or deep purple in September, in December or January, then for debittering you are using another method. Dry salt on top in a tray to dehydrate them, and then put them in the oven for about 40 hours at 35 degrees to debitter them. Small tips.
Unterschied, ob du welche von
You can
oder vom Markt.
Ja, das ist schon.
Like those.